I'll go with Eric Kramer's record in 5 touchdowns. And the significance of that is Eric Kramer was a former Bear and former Lion. He was on their team that went to the NFC Championship game in '91.
Long ass time ago.
And it'll be a long time before the Lions ever get back to the NFC Championship.
Bear down.
A long time. Shout out B. Foster. Was that unnecessary?
It was unnecessary.
They won't have to worry about a Super Bowl anytime soon either.
You know why? We're in the Caleb era now.
The Bears.
I just got to ask you, how important is this game to you?
Not that important. I do think it means a lot to Ben Johnson. I think what the Lions did was a little Bush League. You don't go for it on 4th down up to the game was already decided. You still throwing the ball. And I don't know if that's just because the Lions have always been a team where they'll run up the score before they call the dogs off. But I don't know. We too felt personal. It felt like Lions Nation. I don't know if, well, I'm sure you were aware of all the chatter and the noise coming out of Detroit in the offseason. It went from anything to Ben Johnson's going to fail to Ben Johnson wasn't focused on week 2 as if he's a defensive coordinator and allowed Jaden Daniels and the Commanders go crazy. He still got his offense put up 30. That's on the defense. So the math must be good in Detroit. The math must be good because they said that he sabotaged them and did it on purpose before he left because he wanted to secure his next job. He wanted to get about the playoffs that week. Ben Johnson was getting the Bears job regardless. The Bears would have waited till the Super Bowl was finished before he announced the hire, but he was getting the job. So he didn't have to leave expediently. So I think from the score being ran up to the Lions being cocky, the players online, on the field, I think Ben Johnson wants to put a little belt to ass and teach a lesson.
I'm with you with that one. The job was Ben's. The job was Ben's a year ago. I think a popular.
He's just waiting for Eberflus to officially get fired.
Exactly. He didn't take any other jobs because he was like, you know what, that's the job I want. I'm gonna just let this Eberflus thing continue to do his thing, and then I'm gonna go ahead and take that job. In fact, it got Eberflus fired. You know what, he's taking too long. Let me get you up out of here myself. Thanksgiving.
Definitely did. Let me help you out there. All Ben did by waiting another year was make more money because his profile as the offense coordinator just expanded. His respect around the league just grew. All he did was make more money by waiting another year.
That's right.
And he also showed the Bears, stop messing around. You drafted the number 1 pick. Get a real coach to groom him. Left the Bears no choice.
Not no flus-ass motherfuckers. Anyway, so what you're saying is you don't want the Bears starters to play. That's what you're saying?
No. I want the number 2 seed, and I do want to, and I do want that get back. But in a grander scheme, I don't think it's that important because the Eagles starters ain't playing. I think the Bears are pretty much assured the number 2 seed. But I do like the opportunity to go into the playoffs with a W. I do like the opportunity to get 12 wins. So I like the momentum rolling. I think it's another week it's basically a tune-up game. I think it's another week for the offense to build on what they did last week. It's an opportunity for the defense to feel better about themselves. So I think it's an important game, but it's not utmost important, if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense because that's where I'm at with it too. What's most important is health. Like the last dress rehearsal in
preseason.
In preseason, you want, but unlike the last dress rehearsal, I want this win. We need this win. This team doesn't have like a bunch of playoff experience to fall back on. Like if you're going into this playoff game against whomever, like you said, you don't want to be going to this playoff game carrying a 2-game losing streak. You don't want to be going to this playoff game 2-3 in your last 5 games. Especially for a young team that hasn't been here before, that's not the type of mojo you want to carry into next week. I'm with you out there, Q. That's exactly the way I want this season to finish. I don't care about getting our look back with Detroit. It could be we could be playing the San Jose Sharks or somebody else like that. The name on a jersey is irrelevant. We need this win. The fact that Caleb has an opportunity to get 30 touchdowns or 4,000 passing yards, both things have never happened for a Chicago Bears quarterback. That's just icing on the cake. But the most important thing is getting this win. I want to finish strong. I want to get this San Francisco taste out of our mouths. Oh, hey, pause.
Yo,
Get
yo,
get the San get the San Francisco loss out of their mouth. That's what I
out
need
of
to
your
happen.
system? Is that any better? No, I don't think that's any better. I don't think you want any San Fran in your system.
You know what? You're right. Let's just say 49ers. You want to put that loss behind you. That's what you want to say. But I did bring it up. 4,000 yards? Yay or nay?
You know what? I've heard all the chatter all week. I'm gonna say yay. I think I
Mm,
said at some point it wasn't important to me, but you know what? It might be important to Caleb, and it might be important to Ben Johnson. It might be a
mhm.
benchmark to finally just let's get this monkey off our back. I think the Bears are the only franchise without a 4,000-yard passer, which is astounding to me because the Jets and Browns exist, don't they? Somebody did that for the Jets and Browns? Really?
I think it was Vinny. Didn't Vinny Testaverde do it for the Jets?
Probably right. Vinny threw a lot of yards and a lot of interceptions, so he could. I don't get me the line. I thought it might have been. Well, I guess it probably wasn't named. He played in the 14 game season.
No,
Um,
no, he doesn't. The amount of interceptions that Namath threw, there's no way he got 4,000 yards.
yeah. And then for the Browns, I don't know who. I don't know who did it. Was it Bernie Kosar? Was it Jamius?
No,
Was it Baker?
it's got to be more recent than that. It would probably be Baker.
Okay.
Off the top of my head, I would assume Baker. Baker wasn't bad as a Browns quarterback.
No, it
So
ended bad. He had a
it
bad run the
ended bad.
last
Yeah.
year, and everything is bad in Cleveland. Um, I think it ended bad, and the team wasn't good, so that compounds it. And I think he got hurt, right?
No, he was hurt.
Right.
It wasn't that it ended bad with him and the team was bad. He got hurt in a contract year in the same year that Deshaun Watson became available. Those those things all together in the same pot got
Gotcha.
Baker up out of there,
Okay.
and the Browns are worse off for it.
Man, 3 first-round picks wasted. I'm you know what? I wanna talk on teams going for it all and wasting first-round picks and the impact that'll have on your franchise. Do you hear me, Colts and Packers?
Mm,
Yeah,
to
I'll
be
get to that later.
continued. Yeah. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into this game preview. So we're recording this on the 2nd, Friday, January 2nd. So our injury report is probably as final as it gets before Sunday's kickoff. The Bears and the Lions, they both have similar amount of names on the injury report. The Bears have 9, the Lions have 11. For the Bears, we have 4 guys on the injury report with that flu bug. I don't want to call it a flu, but the illness as they're listening. I'm calling the flu. It might not be a flu, might be something else. It might be a different strand of something else. So I'm gonna just say
It'll be
illness.
COVID.
It could be COVID. It could be something you catch from somebody you passed around throughout the locker room. I don't know. I'm just calling it illness. So there's 4
NFL
so there's
thing. We know that's an NBA thing.
that's an
Gotta be an
NBA
NFL
thing,
thing
right?
too.
It's a baseball thing too. You know what? We'll talk about that off here. But so there's 4 guys on the injury list due to illness. That's Jaquan Brisker, Nick McLeod, Jonah Jackson, and our boy Zacchaeus. Your boy Joe Tryon Shoyinka, I got the name right.
You did. I'm impressed.
He is the only Bear that's out for this game. He has not practiced at all. He's in a concussion protocol. Roma Dunze, he had a limited participation in practice on Friday. He is listed as questionable. You got Ozzy Trapillo also as questionable, along with Nick McLeod and Jaquan Brisker. Q, if Rome is able to play, do you want to see him out there?
Not if he's at any risk of re-injuring himself. If there's any bit of pain, just sit down, Rome. Just sit down. Because Luther Burden and DJ Moore and Jade Walker, and then Colston Loveland, we got enough receiving threats. I'd rather have Rome healthy for the playoffs. If there's any bit of discomfort, I don't want him playing. If he feels he's got to tough it out, I don't want him playing. I don't need to see Rome out there then. I need to see him healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, well, it's football. There's an opportunity to get hurt anytime. So
Yeah.
while I agree that one limited practice in the week and you're coming off a 4-game absence for a stress fracture, you probably don't need to, push that because, and this in the grand scheme of things, this game doesn't mean much, right? However, he would be on a pitch count this week and he'll probably be on a pitch count next week.
Yeah.
So you probably want to build that with lather up now rather than waiting till next week.
10 to
So
15 snaps. Something like in that
Right.
area when he snaps.
Right.
Okay.
So you can make the argument going each way. And to that point, all the people that are against starters playing this week, they have a legitimate concern, which is always a argument you make yearly, go around this time, benching your starters so you can keep them healthy for the real part of the season, versus keeping everybody fresh. I mean, keeping everybody at their best level, focus going in. Again, I did say Bears don't really have a lot of playoff experience outside of Joe Tooney and some of the other guys. As a unit, this is fresh for everybody. So you do want to see them get a couple of snaps in, maybe not a lot, maybe a quarter, for some guys, just to keep the juices flowing going into next week where all the chips are on the table. Another name that's not on this injury report for the Bears, one of your other boys, Kyler Gordon. This is the 4th week for him. When Ben Johnson initially put him on IR, they did say that they were hopeful that he would be back at some point during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last game in the regular season. Today's Friday. You haven't heard that he has been activated, and his name isn't on the injury report. You haven't seen that his 21-day window has been open.
That's not a good thing, then.
I don't think it's a good thing. In fact, I would probably lean to say that if the Bears don't play in the divisional round, you probably won't see him back until off-season program.
That's tough.
It is because we have been very vulnerable at the nickel spot. It would be very tough, but you got to push on. It's football. Everybody, you got to figure things out. Dennis Allen included. The Lions portion of this injury report, they got 11 guys on the injury report queue. I've got some big names that you probably are going to sit up in your chair when you hear. Alex Anzalone is on the injury report. He's in the concussion protocol. Tristan Colin, their starting center. Thomas Harper, Elaine McNeil, Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Giovanni Manu, Amara St. Brown, and Avante Maddox, your boy. They have 5 guys that's already been listed out for the game. You want to take a guess at those names I named? Who was already listed out?
I'm going to guess Anzalone with the concussion is out.
That's one.
Penei Sewell probably ready to go home.
That's 2.
Yeah, his brother ain't playing. He went home. He ready to go home. I don't remember what Avante Maddox injury was, but I'm gonna guess is he out too?
No, he was a full participant today
wow.
and yesterday.
The center, he's out, isn't he?
He is out. You're perfect so far.
I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown is out. I think he's playing. He's gonna give it a try, isn't he?
As of right now, they say that he's going to try to play. He's listed as questionable. He's dealing with a lot of injuries. He's been banged up a lot the last few weeks. He's got knee and ankle
every time I turn on the Lions
issues.
game, he's laying on the ground.
That's just how he play. I mean, even for somebody as tough as he is out there on the field, he does come up lame every now and then. I mean, but the way he plays,
is that his way of getting a breather?
I think so.
I'm
He just goes.
Let me catch my wins.
That's what athletes do, man.
Yeah.
They do that on purpose. They act like they're hurt just so they can like get a free timeout.
Vet move.
All right. Back in the day when you would run suicides in school, and you're like, oh man, I think I pulled something. You just
Get you another
go to the.
suicide. That would get you another suicide if your coach found out you was lying.
Well, I had a bunch of teammates back in the day used to do that way. Or when it was, or on the football field, we had to do gassers.
It's
The fat
bad.
boys. I hate gassers. The fat boys always be like, man, I think I'm gonna pass out. They'll just walk over to get some Gatorade. You'll never see them again. Yeah. But anyway, as an injury report, let's get to this game setup. Bears are 11-5, trying to get to 12-5 on the season, and the Lions have been eliminated from playoff contention. They are 8-8. The Bears are a 3-point favorite. The total on the line is 50.5. Which way are you going with that? Over or under?
What's the weather going to be like?
Well, the weather's supposed to be decent this weekend. That actually a warm up closer to 50s around. Well, it probably won't be closer to 50s around kickoff, but towards
Okay,
halftime, it
so
probably be get down. It won't be cold. Put it like that.
so looking at my score prediction, I got it slightly over. Slightly
Hmm.
over.
Okay, I like the over too. I like the over too if the starters play at least a half. If the starters play at least a half, I like the over. If we get 3/4 of your boy Bajet, a lot of people gonna lose some money. A lot of people gonna lose some money on that one. The Detroit Lions are led by Jared Goff, who's got 4,233 yards on the season and 33 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown's their leading receiver, with 6 catches, 1,262 yards, and 11 TDs. Jahmyr Gibbs has 1,100 yards rushing and 13 TDs on the season. Philip Williams checks in, 270 yards short of 4,000 and 25 passing touchdowns. DJ Moore is the leading receiver on the team, 49 catches, 671 yards, 6 TDs. DeAndre Swift is the leading running back for the Bears, 1,047 yards, 9 TDs. The Detroit Lions have won 6 of the last 7 matchups, and I did just highlight the last time they saw each other. Detroit won 52-21. Q, what do you think the key is in this game for either team?
The key for the Bears just be built on what they've built on since the last time we played the Lions. That is, continue to run the ball, continue to get takeaways. Those are things that drive the Bears. For the Lions, looking like they know what they're doing offensively. I mean, there's times where the Lions just look clueless, and I know their offensive rankings are actually pretty decent. But I mean, there's times where I've seen both times against the Vikings, against the Packers, against the Eagles, where the offense just looked like it was clueless. Like their offense looked like 2023 Bears when Justin Fields went down. That's what it looked like. Struggling to get anything going. So Jahmyr Gibbs not being able to get going. The passing offense not being in sync. So for the Lions, I think it's more about finding some consistency on offense because I think their defense is so beat up and it's been pretty mid even when healthy. I don't think they can rely on defense.
The Detroit Lions are third in the league in points scored per game at 28.9. They have the 5th best passing yards per game in the league at 249. They are 15th in the league in rushing offense at 119 yards per game. The key to this game for the Bears is for one is to keep your emotions in check. You have a job to do. This is a tune-up for the playoffs, and those are those benchmarks for Caleb and I guess for Kyle Monunga too. Kyle Monunga get 60 more yards. You have 800 on the season. So you have a lot of people have talked about it all throughout the week. 4,000 yards for Caleb, 30 touchdowns for Caleb. And there's the obvious rematch / revenge for Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson doesn't strike me as the type of guy who doesn't want to get his lick back, right? But you got to keep the main thing the main thing. You got to go out there and say, all right, this is not as important as the actual prize. When you started this season, you probably didn't have the playoffs and going making a deep playoff run as an actual goal. But now that we're here, a deep playoff drive is the goal. expectations change. Beating the Lions, while I think they should, beating the Lions and running the score up on them is not a part of the plan per se. I think the key is keeping the main thing at all times. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions offense that you mentioned against the Bears defense. The Bears defense, woof. Seen better days, Q. The Bears have given up 5 touchdowns in the red zone in the last 10 opportunities. Doesn't sound bad, like 50%, right? But, 5 of them was in the last game. Over under 3.5 touchdowns given up to the Lions in the red zone on Sunday.
Under.
Mm,
I think it's going to be hard, even though Dan Campbell is considered a master motivator. I think it's hard to find motivation for a team that is coming off 15 wins last year and won't be in the playoffs this year. The Lions have been on deep playoff runs. They've been to the NFC Championship. There's no gold lining in them going out in the last game of the season and winning and having a plus 500 season, as they did in 2022. If you remember, I think I don't know if they knocked the Packers out the playoffs or
they did.
yeah, when they beat them in the last game of the year to get to 9 wins. This isn't a young Lions team that's hungry. This is a middle-ager Lions team that is disappointed. So to get them to execute and to play at their top of their game, I think that's going to be hard. I think the only thing you could probably use is the division rivalry, because there's really nothing the Lions can gain from winning besides a lower draft choice.
I've heard enough this week that the Lions will not just lay down and let the Bears just go ahead and get this win. They're gonna play for pride. They're gonna, have one up their sleeve and try to show the Bears what's what and try to play spoiler to some degree. And you did point out that Dan Campbell's some sort of master motivator. Cool. If he was a master motivator and the Lions had so much pride, figured out why they didn't beat the Vikings. Why ain't beat the Steelers? Do all that. Why you doing all this losing? Why are you turning it on this week? Why is this week so important to you? You didn't want to go to the playoffs?
I think the
That's what I
important
said.
week would have been to stay alive in the playoff
That's
chase.
how I see it. But I guess people still drinking that Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid and they ain't really figured out that this is a lost season for them, man. This is our time. For me, the Lions season has went off the deep end ever since that touchdown celebration from my boy, Amon-Ra St. Brown, when he was playing in DC. They are 2-5 since then, Q. And they've been getting their head smacked. Last time we saw this offense in particular was Christmas Day, one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. Jared Goff and the Lions against Max Brosmer and the Vikings. They was just back and forth terrible. I'm surprised I even won my fantasy match with Jefferson out there giving me absolutely nothing.
Well, I didn't survive. I lost the championship thanks to Justin Jefferson. And I actually would have been competitive if I put Jordan Addison in instead of Lad McConkey. Lad McConkey gave me nothing. And Jordan Addison gave me nothing for 58 minutes, but ended up with a 60-yard touchdown run. And because of the bonus and the rushing yards, he ended up with 15 points and no catches. I've never seen a wide receiver with 15
I was
points
playing
and no
Jahmyr Gibbs in
catches.
that same league in the championship, and his production, yeah, right.
He needs Ben. Jameer, you need Ben. And I'm not talking about you need Ben Johnson back. You need to find your way back to Ben Johnson.
Speaking of Jahmyr Gibbs, well, that's who the Lions' primary running back will be Sunday. No disrespect to David Montgomery, King Dave, but Jahmyr Gibbs is that guy. You saw what CMC did to the Bears' rushing defense? Well, Jahmyr Gibbs is CMC on every other performance enhancer you can imagine. But for the month of December, he's been playing some of the worst ball of his career. The first game of December against Dallas, he had 43 yards. He did score 3 touchdowns, though, in that game. Against the Rams, he had 38 yards rushing. Pittsburgh, he only had 2 yards. And this last game on Christmas Day against the Vikings, he had 41 yards. He has 4 total touchdowns on the month. Q, scale of 1 to 5, your belief that the Bears rushing defense continue Jahmyr Gibbs' bad month of football?
A 3. because Christian McCaffrey wasn't running the ball well. I pointed that out before the game. He's only before the Bears came along. He's only getting about 3.7 yards a carry. Now he's getting a lot of value, so he was able to still have respectable games on the ground. But we're talking about Chris McCaffrey was having outputs of 26, 27 carries for 70, 80 yards. That's not a good average. Um, so I got to go with 3 because the Bears are coming off a miserable performance run defense, and Jameer is coming off 3, 4 games where he just has to be able to get it going on the ground. So something's got to give. I don't know who will be the one to give, but uh, I don't know. I just don't know with this one. I got to go with 3.
That the performance the Bears defense had against San Francisco 49ers was abysmal. I would like to believe that that's the Bears at their worst. I mean, you could also say the Bears at their worst was the last time these two teams played each other, but I don't believe the Bears defense is as bad as shown. It was just one of them days. Not saying the Bears defense.
Shout out Monica.
Yeah, right. New Monica. Not to say that the Bears defense is good by any stretch of the mean. I mean, statistically it isn't. However, I don't think it's that bad. The way that CMC was able to get 6 yards per carry. CMC was able to have 150 all-purpose yards, over 150 all-purpose yards, and Brock Purdy to do that. Brock Purdy looked like a completely different player. I don't think that's the real Bears defense. If I ask that same question to myself, I would actually go a little bit higher. I'm gonna say 4. I think there's something actually broken with this Lions offense that I don't think seeing the Bears defense in the last game of the season is going to fix. I don't think that's the remedy for them. I don't think that they're like one of those teams that's already mentally in Cancun, but you don't have Penei Sewell out there. You don't have a couple of other offensive linemen. Now, I'm saying all this even though the 49ers didn't have Trent Williams for the whole game, and McCaffrey still gave the Bears a headache. Moving past that, Jared Goff I think he's had a better career at the Detroit Lions than he had with the Lions. I mean, with the Rams. Would you agree?
I would definitely agree.
He's regressed a little bit this season, not having Ben Johnson with him, and he's not completing 80% of his passes when I say that he's regressed. But he's still throwing for over 4,000 yards, still got 33 touchdowns on the season. Over under, Q. 2.5 passing touchdowns for Jared Goff on Sunday.
I'm gonna go under. Um, why? Why am I gonna go under? Um, he's got a lot of injuries on that offensive line. Penei Sewell gone. Starting center gone. Frank Ragnow tried to come back and couldn't. There is a lot of injuries on that offensive line. They've been very vulnerable. Goff is not very good at eluding pass rushers. I think Dennis Allen dials up timely pressure, and I think it's going to be tough on Goff. I think he's not going to have a lot of time to throw and execute it. And we've seen Goff when he doesn't have a clean pocket, when there's good pressure on, especially up the middle, when you make him change off his plant foot lead leg, tends to get a little sloppy. So I don't foresee a 3 touchdown game out of Goff.
The last time we saw Jared Goff on Christmas, he had turned the ball over 5 times. He had 2 interceptions. He had lost 3 fumbles. But I don't think that's the real Jared Goff. I think the real Jared Goff is a lot better than that. Q, do you think that the Bears can force 2 turnovers at least off of Jared Goff?
Yes, I think Jared Goff's offensive line is depleted. He's not a guy with a lot of mobility. He's kind of a statue in there. Pressure up the middle can really bother him, force him into turnovers. I think the perfect recipe is Dennis Allen dialing up some timely blitzes, and he shouldn't even need too many blitzes. Austin Booker and Montez Sweat should be able to get home.
Mhm.
Jared and Dexter should be able to be effective in the middle of that Lions interior with their starting center gone. So I think somebody should be able to get to him and dislodge the ball. I think somebody should be able to get to him and make him uncomfortable and make him have an errant pass. So I see the Bears defense getting 2 takeaways this game.
Who do you think we talked about Jahmyr Gibbs and his struggles the last month of football. Jared Goff looked terrible on Christmas. Considering those two guys, who do you think is the Bears' key to success? Like, who do they like? If you think of it in a frame of like, I guess Bill Belichick, who's the guy the Bears got to shut down? Jared Goff or Jahmyr Gibbs?
You got to stop Gibbs. So I think the Lions, even though Ben Johnson isn't there and the play action hasn't been married as much to the um, pass game, it hasn't been as effective. I think everything still starts with Jahmyr Gibbs. You could see that when the two times the Lions played the Vikings and they shut them down both times, they were able to have good defensive showings, and Garrett Goff was not able to be effective. So I think you stop Jahmyr Gibbs first because that stops the threat of the play action and keeps you from getting hit over the top of the head by Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams wants to do one thing, and that's get deep on those vertical routes. So I think you minimize Jahmyr Gibbs, you make the play action less effective, and then I think the Lions become a much more beatable team and an offense that you're able to dictate and force your will upon.
I'm gonna be so pissed off if I see Jamison Williams standing by himself, 20 yards away from the nearest Bears defender. I don't want
I've
to see that
had
shit
enough of
again.
seeing that the last 2 years.
Nah, he's stunning on the Bears in week 2. We need to he needs to be a non-factor in this
I
game.
think this last year at Soldier Field too in the second game.
Mm-hmm. Remember that. All right, so the Lions offense is what they are. They are a very potent offense, even though ever since Dan Campbell took over play call for them, I feel like the season's turned. Well, the season turned when Amon St. Brown did that thing in DC. But when Dan Campbell took over play call for them, I feel like that was a death nail. It worked that one time, that one game. It ain't been too hot for this thing. They're not having the same return on investment when they go for it on fourth down. Their rushing offense hasn't been potent this month. I think they're beatable if the Bears don't even play their starters the whole game. I do want to point out that the Lions are 8-0 this season when they rush for at least 100 designated yards. And when I say designated, I mean like not like scrambles or anything like that. When they do not rush for 100 yards, they are 0-8. I think that's the key to the game. The Bears got to contain the run game. The Bears want to win this game. They got to actually put their best foot forward defensively. As I said the last episode, defense wins championships. You got to start putting that together right now. You don't wait till next week. Start playing winning defense this week, and you can go a long way by keeping Jahmyr Gibbs and King Dave on their back foot and getting to them in the backfield. Let's talk Bears offense against the Lions defense. We talked earlier about the desires to get Caleb Williams these benchmark numbers for the franchise and for the city of Chicago. Caleb Williams has thrown 270 yards before. I think he's done it 4 times this season. If it was up to you, would you like to see 270 yards from Caleb, or would you like to see 5 touchdowns from Caleb this game?
Let's go with the 5 touchdowns. Let's run it up. So, like they did us, yeah, I would love to see 5.
5 touchdowns would be the first Bears quarterback to have 30 touchdowns in a season, which is crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know a Bears quarterback never had 30 touchdowns in a season.
I think Eric Kramer got the record with 28. Kramer had 28 in 95.
Okay.
I think the same year he set the passing record, which was 3,800 yards.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's another thing people forget. Caleb, if he plays, he's pretty much assured of breaking Eric Kramer's record. So even without getting to the 4K, he's going to set a record because I think he's a little over 100, a little under 100 short of Eric Kramer's 3,800.
I think 108 yards.
Okay, yeah. So I'll go with Eric Kramer's record in 5 touchdowns.
Nice way to split the baby.
And the significance of that is Eric Kramer was a former Bear and former Lion.
He played for the Lions?
Played for the Lions.
I don't remember that.
That's where we got him from. We stole him from the Lions in free agency.
Oh, really? I did not recall that he played for the Lions before that.
Yep. He was on their team that went to the NFC Championship game in 91.
Dang. That was
history.
a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
and they ain't
And
been
it'll be
shit.
a long time before the Lions ever get back to the NFC Championship.
Bear down.
A long time. Shout out B. Foster. Was that
91.
unnecessary?
It was unnecessary,
Was that
but
unnecessary? They won't have to worry about a Super Bowl anytime soon either.
you know why? We're in the Caleb era now.
We in the Caleb era.
So the Bears,
Fight
speaking
for
of
second,
Caleb,
boys.
you ready?
Fight for second from here on out.
Speaking of Caleb, he leads the offense for the Bears, who rank 10th in the league in scoring at 26.6 per game. The passing offense is 11th in the league, 226 yards per game, with a third. Actually, the Bears have failed a third rushing offense. I think because Ben Johnson ain't been running the ball like that lately, but letting Caleb do his thing. Still averaging 150 yards per game. I would love to see Caleb throw 270 yards on this defense, because the defense has been a shambles ever since Brian's Branch went out a few games ago. But I do want to talk about the Ben Johnson factor. Everything we know about him is that he is extremely intense. Right? He's a gamer. He's a gamer's gamer. He does not take kindly to any type of perceived disrespect. If you remember the press conference after the Bears lost to the Lions, and he was asked about how you feel about them going for them fourth down when it was up, he was kind of pissed off. Even though he said the right things, the tone of his voice was like, I don't like that shit. Not that I think that Ben Johnson's going to be telling his team to be on that get back, because I think all you gotta do is put the tape on, right? And you put the tape on, people gonna get in their own feelings. 52 to 21, that feels a type of way. But if I put it on a scale of 1 to 5, I would probably say I'm at a 4, a strong 4, maybe later than a 5. That the play calls, the install for this week is going to be at the Lions' throat. What do you think about that?
I agree.
Over under 2.5 trick plays on Sunday for Ben Johnson.
Ooh. Because you know what? He's gonna clown. 2.5. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go right over at 3.
If he pulls out 3 trick plays, the Bears are stumping all over the Lions. And I love that
And I
for
think
him.
it's time to have fun.
I love that for him. So out of all the rookie pass catchers, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, who would you prefer to see the guys that's Tyson Bagent or Caleb Williams preferred target in this game?
That's interesting. Man, Burden and Loveland are both quickly becoming my personal faves and Chicago faves. Let Luther cook. I want to see some of those yards after catch and some of those ankle breakers, and I want to see him cook.
When we get into the offseason, we get to breaking down the season in review, and we start talking about this, and we go all the way back to the draft. Man, we're gonna have some stuff to talk about. Al Monunga in the 7th round, Luther Burden in the 2nd round, Isaac
Man,
Rapillo in the 3rd, Loveland in the 1st. All these guys have been played big in this season.
I
So
did not imagine this rookie class was be so impactful. You got
right,
Loveland, Burden, Trapillo, Monunga, 4 guys really playing at a high level. And let's not forget, we didn't get to see the corner Zoff Frazier this year because he'd been out with some personal things. Shamar Stewart got hurt in week 3 or week 4 and came into the season hurt. I don't know what's going on with Ruben Hippolyte. He hasn't been able to get back on the field, but there's opportunity for 3 or 4 more guys to emerge next year. Oh, let's not forget Ja'Day Walker. He wasn't drafted, but he's part of this rookie class. He's an undrafted rookie. This has the potential to be a draft class that has a big impact on the Bears for the next several years.
previewing this game from an offensive standpoint is it's kind of up in the air because you really don't know how the game flow is going to go for this game, especially because the Bears have something to do next week, and the Lions are going to be in Cancun next week. And with all the history that sits at the feet of Caleb Williams, it's kind of weird. But let's say the game is it gets into one of those situations where the game flow needs to be slowed down, right? and Ben's trying to take the air out of the ball, and we want to run, and they decide to run the ball. What kind of a split are you looking for between Swift and Cal Monangai? Or should we see another running back come into this game, try to spell them two?
Um, I think if the score gets out of hand, you want to preserve Monangai and Swift. If the game remains competitive to the end or near the end, I want to see 50-50. The thing about Colin Nungai is he definitely establishes a certain physicality when he runs the ball and with the offense. And to be fair, DeAndre Swift has ran the ball. He's ran the ball as physical as I've ever seen DeAndre Swift, finishing runs, lowering his shoulder, uh, getting yards after contact. But Monangai brings just a natural, nasty physicality. So that's your late game guy you want to just grind and wear on a defense. So I always like to see 50-50 between Swift and Monangai. And you use Swift to when the defense is kind of worn down. Then you get those big chunk plays from Swift. So yeah, ideally I always like to see 50-50 between Swift and Monangai.
This is a time of the season you would love to have a third running back, Roschon Johnson. Unfortunately, he's unavailable. He's on injured reserve, as he tends to
Again, why
always.
would he get hurt? Okay. Yeah. Well, where's Ian Willer and Britton Evans? So I guess one of them can emerge.
Right. Again, this is one of those situations where it's kind of uncharted territory. Not to say that to be because the Bears are not used to being in a situation, but it's just, well, I guess no, the Bears aren't used to being in a situation with an established playoff game ahead of them the following week, with the opportunity to, I guess, right some wrongs and get history for in some offensive categories. I don't think we've ever been in that type of situation before. So it's weird. I know Ben is going to want to try to get Caleb them numbers. I know that. But it's just so many variables to this game that, it can go either way. You could have Caleb go out there and clown. He can get his 27. He can get 300 yards, get that 4,000 yards, and be cool. Or the game could be going back and forth. And Ben decides to got to run the ball to take the air out the game. Let's go ahead and make this prediction. Q, where are you at with this game? Remember, the total is 50.5.
And I gave a sneak preview and said that I think the Bears, the game would just go over. 4 tutties from the Bears, 31-23.
31-23. I got a more competitive game. I got it 52-21 Bears.
I like how you led that. Yeah. Ben Johnson's going to be pissed when he goes to the locker room when he realizes the Lions were almost within 30 points of him. You know what? We got to start treating our division rivals like Alabama and Ohio State treat teams in their conference. Hey, it's a loss. Alabama feels like they lost if they played Vanderbilt and Vanderbilt was within 30 or 40 points. We got to start treating them like Ohio State treats Purdue. You know, you got to beat them by 30, 40 points.
I like that, Q. The preeminent football programs, Alabama, Ohio State, they got to start treating the ops like they're a bunch of nerds. Bear down.
Bear down.